Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Career Pool. And I think so you can watch us live now. So today we will be talking about a career in law. So बहुत से students होते हैं जो लोग law में pursue करना चाहते हैं and they think it's a very lucrative career. And they think कि जैसे doctors की private practice चलती है and they can earn in crores. So that is one of the motivation जो students में होता है. And first and foremost, I would like to ask anyone if अगर मेरी आवाज सही से आ रही है, and if there's any problem in my audio, just let me know in the chat box, and I'll try to correct it. But let's go further, and let me say कि जो students law करना चाहते हैं, if you look into the NLUs, तो NLU में जो corporate में placements हो रहे हैं, that is nearly 50 to 60%. And उनमें जो 50-60% हो रहे हैं, उनमें जो मीडियन सैलरी है दैट इज नियरली अराउंड 15 to 16 lakhs. तो इस तरह से और भी यूनिवर्सिटीज हैं एंड टुडे वी हैव इनवाइटेड अ वेरी स्पेशल गेस्ट एंड आई विल टेल यू अबाउट हिम. सो वी हैव प्रोफेसर श्याम किशोर, डॉक्टर श्याम किशोर, and he's a professor of law at Alliance School of Law, Alliance University. So he was also a principal at Ramaiah College of Law in Bengaluru. And he's done his PhD from University of Madras on the topic law relating to derivative action and protection of minority investors, a critical study. And before that, he completed his LLM in corporate and financial services from NUS, that's National University of Singapore. We'll be talking to him about obtaining LLM or master's degree from abroad as well. And before that, he was working in Singapore with major corporates, and he was also advising them on corporate finance, IPOs, and other Singapore listed companies on matter relating to shareholder agreements and surplus. We'll try to know more about his field of study and what else can the students do. So welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sagar. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes.
I'll just check on YouTube also. If anyone on YouTube is not able to hear us, like me or sir, just write to me in the comment box. And if you have any questions, you can join directly with us on the Zoom, or you can write it in the comment box and I'll ask, sir. Yes, sir. So a very warm welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sagar.
Okay. So, sir, we will start off with some questions. Let us just do a little brief about the programs that you're offering at Alliance School of Law.
Okay. We offer the whole stretch of courses at Alliance University. By whole stretch, I mean from the undergrad to the postgrad and doctoral programs as well. At undergraduate programs, we offer two courses. One is the 5-year integrated BA LLB honors, and we also offer a 5-year integrated BBA LLB honors program as well. That is at the undergrad level. We also offer a 1-year LLM program and also a PhD program as well, a doctoral program as well. So we have across the board all the courses.
Okay, and there are some students who have been, like, before last year also they were asking me if someone had to choose between BA LLB and BBA LLB.
Yeah.
What is more beneficial? What are the different criteria in which the student can think, why should I take BA or why should I take BBA? How does he make a decision?
Yes. That is a very important question, because I found so many students being confused about that as well. See, when you do this, when you opt for a career in law, surely I expect students to have some idea or some reason behind why they chose to do law and where they see themselves 5 years from now, right? So when they make that choice, what is important to keep in mind is it is not only that you need to graduate in law, but you need to graduate well in law. You need to do well, right? So if you have to do well in a 5-year course, then what is very important is you need to have that passion and that enthusiasm to sustain, because unlike many other courses, law is a 5-year course. So you have to sustain that enthusiasm over a period of time. Now that can happen only if you have opted for a course in which you have an aptitude, right? So what is the basic difference between a BA LLB program and a BBA LLB program? In BA LLB program, which the BA is the allied degree, the first degree, and the LLB is the second degree. And therefore, you will end up doing subjects like, at least at Alliance, you will be doing sociology, political science, and economics as the BA papers. And in on the other hand, in BBA LLB program, you will be doing papers on management, marketing, and accounts. Right? So these are the papers that you do. So when you opt to do a course, what is most important is you need to know where your aptitude lies. Are you more comfortable doing papers like sociology, political science, economics, etc., or are you more comfortable with papers or subjects like management studies, accountancy, managerial economics, all those kinds of business subjects, so to speak? That is one part of it, where your aptitude lies. The second, right, because many students are under the impression that, I need to be in corporate law, I need to do well in corporate business law, and therefore I have to take BBA LLB program, which I believe is not true, right? In the sense that the allied degree is intended to add value to your course. But like, for example, myself, I did my graduation in BA LLB honors. But I went on to do my master's in corporate and financial services law, and then I worked in a law firm in the corporate division, right? And then over the last decade and more, I've been specializing in corporate law as well. So it is not that a BA LLB student cannot do. In fact, you have economics in BA LLB, which will also keep aiding you. But yes,
you said that we had subjects in BBA such as financial accounting or business law. So wouldn't that be
absolutely? And that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting to. That you don't take anything away when you do BA LLB or BBA LLB, because at the end of the day, in both these courses, you become a qualified lawyer. That's what you become. Then what does this course do? What does BA and BBA do? They add value to it, right? Now, when students join for law, not many students will have a very focused mind as to, well, I need to be in this area. Many students will want to keep their options open. Many students will want to do civil services, take civil services examinations, etc. So, however, for those of you who are very clear in their mind that what is the option, I need to go for civil service, or I need to practice criminal litigation, or I want to be in a corporate setup, right? Particularly in-house counsels. Once, if at all your mind is very clear on that, then you can opt for these subjects because it adds value. As you very rightly put it, if you are doing a paper on accountancy and business studies, etc., it certainly adds value to your course, because as a corporate lawyer,
get a better understanding beforehand.
Yes, not only that.
Your point is also very true that if you want to do UPSC, then I think so a BA degree is much more helpful.
Exactly.
More helpful to you, because then the course alignment is same, the syllabus is same. But if you are very sure that you want to go into corporate finance or maybe into corporate law, then I think so BBA can be helpful in certain ways, because the subjects is same.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, when I went on to do my master's there, I did a BA LLB, but when I went on to do my master's, I opted for a paper, therefore, which was titled as Business and Finance for Lawyers in the National University of Singapore. So that was an accountancy paper, essentially. So that helped, because as a lawyer, as a corporate lawyer, when my clients meet me, and what they will give me is only the statements of the company. So if I have to interpret the statements, then the accountancy background will certainly help me understand the cash flow statement or the profit and loss statement. If it's a BA lawyer, then I would probably need assistance there. Right? But does that enable me to sign off as an accountant? No, I can't. I'm only a qualified lawyer. Right? So my point, therefore, I was trying to make is, it doesn't take anything away. But these courses do add value if you are very focused and you know very clearly for where you want to be. For those of you who want to keep the options open, well and good. You can take depending on your aptitude. So aptitude and your focus as to expectations to where you want to be. Those will be the two criteria based on which you will take your opt for the course, BA or BBA.
Okay. And moving forward, so in short, what sir has said that we have, if you know कि आपको आगे क्या करना है, let's say if you want to go into criminal litigation or a civil litigation, depending upon your choice, आप उस हिसाब से फिर choose कर सकते हो. BA is helpful in certain ways, and BBA is helpful in certain ways because of the subjects that you study. So moving on, sir.
Just to add one more point, because I found this very often. Students who do not have an aptitude for accountancy or other subjects, they end up taking BBA only because they want to work in a corporate setup. और उससे क्या होता है, I found in many cases that their grades in accountancy keep falling, which affects their overall grade. और final when जब placements के लिए companies आते हैं, they only look at your grades as a first round of clearance, right? So you get up, you fall there itself. So if you don't have the aptitude, then don't opt for it. Simply because don't think one is better than the other. They both are equal. So that is very important, you know. But if you have the aptitude, you think you can do well in both, then you can try either of them.
Because nowadays it's more of a skill-based market. Now the days are over that just based on your degree, even if it's a degree from a very prestigious university, still the market really looks into. I think so. The degrees are just a signal for the people who are employing you to adjust to it. And sir, regarding the admissions in your university, what are the criteria that you are admitting your students?
But criteria again, because see, you know, when we had a vision to start school, I was there as a founding faculty in this when the school began as well. So right at the time when we drafted the curriculum itself, now we gave a lot of importance on the aptitude of the student. I mean, perhaps later during this talk, I will share more on the course structure of this course that we have here at Alliance. But we ensured that, you know, students, the course structure is customized to students' aptitude, right? So the same batch of 60 students who enter a classroom, by the time they pass out, they end up doing a completely different stream of subjects, right? So we focus on the aptitude part of it most importantly, and that does not mean simply just answering a few questions in an exam. That's only one part of it, which is required, of course. But we also show, give very significant emphasis in knowing why the student wants to join us, why he wants to opt for a career in law, right? Does he have, because it's not important, passing examination is only one small bit of an assessment in our university here. So we need to know whether he has the aptitude, whether he will be in a position to, you know, take part in all the experiential activities that we have here, right? Whether he whether he will, therefore, does he have it in him to become a good lawyer, right?
Okay, and how do you check this aptitude? Like, how do
one,
you check
of course, our exams, the entrance examinations, we usually, of course, during COVID times and pandemic times, there are the odd exceptions that we make. But over the long period of years, one, our examination questions are intended to check those aptitude. And second, they also have to have an interview with a panel of professors. And that is where our focus on the aptitude comes. The entrance examination questions, take part of what usually the students prepare as
sort of knowledge.
Exactly, those areas.
Interview, you sort of see the personality.
Yes. So that complements.
What qualities do you think are required for a student? Like, let's say if I'm in 12th class, mostly, we have a very superficial understanding of law as a career. We sort of just know that it's very lucrative. Let us just take and I'll have a private practice or a corporate finance. That's too lucrative.
They're not expected to know that much in detail about the profession.
But how do I check? What qualities should I see in myself if I want to be a good lawyer? Because there's a lot of work in it, because interpretation of the law is a huge field. So you should have that sort of analytical abilities. Then you should also have sort of perseverance, because you have to look into different, let's say, judgments of all through the years and have an understanding of what. And then you have to have a like a good oratory skill, maybe, because you have to fight certain cases, and maybe a good writing skill if you want to become a judge.
Sagar, many of these skills, if there is a certain basic skills with the student, then we can build on them. It's actually our job to train students to become that. So you don't. I wouldn't really want, look out. Of course, if the student has some oratory skills, that's well and good, that's wonderful. But it's not like, I put that as a condition, because that is what I'm now going to train him. That's what our faculty will be working on that student over a period of 5 years, inculcating step by step whatever skills that the industry requires. But what do I look? I think that was your question. In the student, when a candidate comes, first is, of course, he wouldn't probably know much about law, but I'll probably ask him how he felt about, बच्चे अभी 10th में civics paper है उनके पास. They would have done civics. Now I'll probably start with there, saying how well, because that's where you start law as well, where you know what is the civic sense, what are the forms of government that we had, right? So how much he was comfortable with those kind of papers, history, civics. Then how active or how aware is he about what's happening around him? Does he read a newspaper regularly? Right? And does he have an idea of the current issues that are there, what's happening around him, right? Does he have a view on it? Could be any view. We don't go by what that view is, but what we check is, does he have a view at all? Right? Because then it shows the aptitude of a student about law. And third criteria, very important criteria, is we also look at his ethical value systems in a certain, given scenario, how he gets. So we probably give him certain situations and ask him how he would probably react in that. Because at the end of the day, we also are very particular that, the students that pass out of this university hold certain value also, because that's something that is lost on many of the students in this generation. So we give certain focus on that part as well. So if these attitudes are there, if he's sounds to be, we also look at questions like, if during his schooling, has he done anything in terms of activism, or has he done some social work? These things will show that yes, he has the aptitude to sustain an enthusiasm for 5 long years, and he will be ready, because remember, our course curriculum is rigorous. So if you're not interested in it, chances are that you're going to feel bored. That we don't want that kind of a scenario. So it's fun. It's fun. Many of these curriculum, many of these activities, but at the same time, it's rigorous. You need to put in those hours. You need to clock in those hours. So that is something we look at. Whether does he have the right ethical values? Is he here for the right reasons? He shouldn't be here just because his parents forced him to do it. Right? How is he? Does he know aware? Does he read newspapers regularly? Is he comfortable with subjects like history, civics? So these are some of the things that we look at.
Indicators that
yes, that shows if these things are there, then we can work on the candidate. We are well trained and we are qualified to work on that candidate, and we are confident that we can make good lawyers out of them.
Okay. And the curriculum that you're talking about, do you upgrade it very often, or how does it work?
Every year actually, because we are trained to think in a way that if the syllabus, particularly because this is law, every year there's probably some changes happening. So if we are not updating the syllabus, we are required to explain why. Because the default position is our syllabus keeps updated regularly. If it is not, then we have to show a reason why there has not been any significant change in the law, and therefore we're not changing. So that is how we look at our syllabus and curriculum.
Okay. There's a student called Abhay Singhal. He's asking a question that if I'm unable to secure a good college at an entrance exam from BA LLB, this is not pertaining to specifically Alliance School of Law. He's generally asking, like, if I don't get a very good college, or let's say he doesn't have a lot of money, then what is the scope for BA LLB from a small college or a local decent college? What are your views? Is there a scope, or is it more of a hard work and he puts in this work and doesn't get a job?
Hard work you put in anywhere and you will be rewarded. See, you study in any government college, any college with less infrastructure, etc. You study in university which has all the infrastructure, a top university like probably Jindal, Alliance, etc. It's still the same Indian Constitution. It's still the same Indian Penal Code. The law does not change, right? But yes, if in the absence of a lot of facilities, it makes your job that much more difficult. Yes, just say here you would have the latest case laws, everything, online resources are readily available at the tips
and
of.
Also you have teachers who can explain you, and you have your doubt clearing session.
Yes, no, I would think in many places there will always be good teachers. It's
Exactly.
It need not necessarily be that only we have good teachers and others. No.
Yes.
There will be good teachers everywhere, but the bottom line is when you work, the teachers will give you only that much. When your work comes out, when you are in places like these, आपको वो सब चीज readily मिल जाते हैं आपको, case laws or latest articles आपको
लेकिन पढ़ना तो खुद ही पड़ेगा.
खुद ही पड़ेगा, right? But we will give you that. I mean, we subscribe to many resources, online resources. Keen Online have, all these things. Many other colleges might not get it. Yeah. So you're not getting it
added
for free.
benefit. This is an added benefit.
So that difference is going to be there, but it does not mean that because you haven't been able to get through here that you cannot do well. That's not at all the case. आपको मेहनत करना है, मेहनत करोगे आप, कहीं भी आप पढ़ो, you will do well.
Okay. And sir, let's say we will talk a little bit about your college, about your university also, and I would like to ask, what are some best practices in your course that you are using? What is the USP of Alliance University? Just to give us an idea, because right now it's even in education, it's such a competitive environment. Because I work in this area and I see every university they're trying to come up with so many innovations, but I'm not sure that all innovations they'll work at the same level, because students 60, 70 aate hain, everyone is so different, and one teacher cannot really give everything and teach everyone individually. So एक general हमें करना है, अब पता नहीं कितना retain हो पाता है, but how is Alliance University trying to build up the USP? What is actually
there are two aspects to what you asked. One is of course the best practices, and the other is a USP. So I'll take both separately and answer. The USP of our course, I would say, like to believe, is our course structure. जैसे मैंने आपको कहा था, 2012 when we started this college, I was there and I was part of, therefore involved in framing the course structure. So I can very confidently say what we had in mind when we drafted this course structure as well, right? See, right at that point in time, we understood that it is about specialized skills. That's what the future is all about. A basic degree alone is not going to make you competent in the industry, right? Or competitive in the industry, rather. Right? So what did we do? We ensured, as I alluded to earlier as well, we ensured that each student, even if he's in the same class, as you rightly put, in the same batch of 60, different students will have different attitudes. So we had to give, and our focus was, आपको आप जिसमें aptitude है, उसमें करो. That is when you will actually excel, and you will pass out with a certain niche advantage, a specialization in certain skills, that specific skills. So what did we do? Our course, unlike in many other universities, I don't know whether any other university offers it, but we offer a dual honors program, right? It's a BA LLB honors, that's what we say, but it's actually an honors in BA and an honors in BBA. That's an option that we've given. How does that work out? The first, I'll take BA first as an illustration to explain, and the same thing applies to BBA. They say BA mein, in the first 3 semesters, you do 1 paper each on sociology, economics, and political science. Now, 3 semesters, when you have done 3 papers on each of these subjects, you have sufficient knowledge now to think within these 3 papers, where do I want to do an honors? And then he makes a choice in his 4th semester. Okay, because I want to be, let's say, target civil service. So I opt for political science honors. Political science honors.
Sociology,
Yes. So either of that, but let's take political science for example. So then 4th, 5th, and 6th semester mein, he will do 3 papers of political science alone. Matlab 6 papers of political science, 3 of sociology, 3 of economics, right? That he does in his allied degree, first degree. When he comes to 6th semester, by then he would have done the core law papers. Constitutional law ka ek paper, company law ka ek paper, criminal IPC, he would have done 1 core papers. He is asked to make a choice between 5 streams: business law, international law, criminal law, intellectual property law, And what was that one more? I think international law. Did I say that?
Yeah,
Anyway,
international.
Yeah, five. So five streams are there.
Yeah.
He will be asked to make a choice in this, right? So he opts for one of these. Let's say the same civil servant aspirant. So political science में honors किया था. Abhi now he will say, I want to do in constitutional law. Constitutional I think I left.
तो अच्छा है.
Constitutional law, right? He will do then 8 papers on constitutional law.
Okay.
Right? By 6 to 8. मतलब सोचो, a student in 10 semesters, a classmate of his will not, he would have probably done 8 papers more on political science and 3 papers more on, 3 papers more on political science and 8 papers more on constitutional law than his classmate.
Yeah.
So he has that much more grasp on the subject in order, if he is going to become a civil servant aspirant. And that doesn't end there. Final semester, final year, he will also be given option to opt for different kinds of seminar papers. The seminar paper kya hota hai? That is niche areas of law, which is not a full-fledged law paper. Jaise law and technology, IoT law, or feminist jurisprudence, law and media. Essay subjects. These are not full-fledged law papers, but papers which upcoming fields.
Certain sort of upcoming fields.
So, wahan pe, suppose the civil servant, then he will opt for, he has to do 4 seminar papers. He will opt for papers like, law and media, services law, law and food security. So, socho, by the time he is completing his 10 semesters, he would have done a completely different stream. On the other hand, a student who wants to work in a corporate law firm, BA, even in BA, he will opt for economics honors.
Yeah.
Right. Then business law, he will choose. And then in his seminar papers, he will choose papers like cybersecurity, or law and technology or mergers and acquisitions, e-commerce, etc. So completely different course in the same class. That is, I believe, our USP. Right? We customize the course.
Students, जैसे sir कह रहे हैं, it is main ये बात है कि sir आपको option दे रहे हैं कि आप जो है, आपको अब बात ये कि आप अपने teacher से बात करिए. And yeah, one more thing, जैसे YouTube में लोग लिख रहे हैं, first and foremost, this webinar is free, of course. We do not charge anything from the students or from the university. This is just to understand the university better. And like we are talking to sir, and we are also getting, I am as a career counselor also getting a lot of knowledge कि भाई हो क्या रहा है. And this is very important because जैसे sir कह रहे हैं ना, options इतने सारे हैं, but students को नहीं समझ आता. For example, if you think you want to go into journalism, so sir is saying you take political science in like first 2-3 semesters, you do political science. तो आपको एक पूरा पता चल जाएगा.
अगर एक और चीज मैं बताऊं, जैसे because you said journalism, we are also giving one more option. After third semester, in case you don't want to do an honors in the first degree, आप 3 पेपर के mass communication भी कर सकते हो.
अच्छा, वो भी option है. वो भी option. More, you are following certain sort of liberal art pedagogy. Multiple options हैं. So this is something which students should know कि भाई मेरे को अगर journalism में जाना है तो मैं political science करूँगा, मेरे को एक idea मिल जाएगा, then I can go into political science. लेकिन अगर मुझे journalism finance में journalism में जाना है तो भी अच्छा है, आप पहले से economics करिए, उसके बाद आप corporate finance करिए. इस तरह से करके you can make your own path, because जहां आपको पहुंचना है वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए different knowledge आपको चाहिए. And right now, students who were there, like I did 12 years back, I did my 10 years back, I did my masters. तब तक we did not have these options in universities कि जहाँ पे हम multiple चीजें ले सकते हैं.
और ये हमने 2012 में decide किया कि हम ऐसे करेंगे.
Yeah, because
in a way, I'm happy to say that we thought much ahead.
Yeah, it's very important, I think so, in this context. Why? Because right now, जो लोग job कर रहे हैं, so they don't have the desired skills. तो फिर उनको अभी जो companies आती हैं, जैसे Udemy है या Coursera है, ये certain certifications करा रहे हैं. So they give them skills कि ये लो. But अगर आप university में ही कर सकते हो, आपको अगर पता चल जाए कि हम इस तरह से experiment कर लें. So these are like the way you said, the USP है कि हम multiple options हैं. हम एक ऑप्शन ले लें, पॉलिटिकल साइंस ले लें, सोशियोलॉजी ले लें, आपको आईएएस करना है, इकोनॉमिक्स ले लें, और फिर हम लॉ में जाके द 5 ऑप्शन दैट यू गिव, या हम उसमें से एक चूज कर लें. स्पेशलाइजेशन बहुत जरूरी है. आई थिंक सो, दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट.
यस,
ओके. And let's say I think so the next question which I made for you, I think so you've already answered that जो आपका program structure है, how does it ensure
Yes.
that the students are prepared for the future? I think so.
Yes.
You have
Yes.
answered this.
Yes. Yes.
And let us talk now about the main burning topic, जो practical चीजें हैं, कि first and foremost, how is the market for law? कि कितने corporates हैं, क्या options हो सकते हैं? Corporates कितने हैं? Self working में हमारे पास क्या options हैं? Like you mentioned, criminal है, constitutional है, human activism है. तो और क्या ऑप्शन हो सकते हैं? ये दो तो मुझे पता है, या फिर आप गवर्नमेंट में जज बन जाओ या गवर्नमेंट लॉयर बन जाओ.
Options are plenty, and it's completely different from the times when we graduated and doing law. What are the options? Just to give you an wide, an idea of how wide the array of options are. Let's take the 5 honors that we are offering. Let's say a student who does business law. Now he can go in for corporate litigation, yes, or work in a corporate law firms, yes. A lot of companies, companies like Amazon, Deloitte, they all come to our campus to recruit people, because almost every company now needs in-house counsels. Every time they cannot go to law firm. The law court mein jana hai.
So Amazon, Google, they have multiple structures of litigation, because they have from hiring में आपके साथ एक contract sign होगा, फिर आपके जो buyers हैं उनके साथ
litigation तो छोड़ो, वो तो चलेगा, that a qualified lawyer only will do. But the in-house counsel, because these days you have so many contracts, so many different kinds of contracts, service contracts. So yeah, if you want to send somebody on site, Infosys, TCS वगैरह सब आते हैं ना, because they need people, if they specializing in immigration law, because they have to send people outside and everything. Then about contracts, right? Signing and vetting contracts. Har baar we don't go to the law firm. Instead, wo apne hi ek lawyer andar hi rakhte the, so that he will vet the contracts. And then only if you need to go to the court and other things, you involve the lawyer from the law firm, right? So that's being in-house counsels, right? Then banks. Banks have so many of my students are now working in banks and doing very well for themselves, right? So banks have these things. Insurance sector mein bahut zyada now they are recruiting, because present scenarios are also like that, So they have,
and I think so within last 10 years ऐसा भी हुआ है कि before that लोगों को लगता था legal issues क्या हैं, law बहुत ऐसे ही चलता रहेगा, नहीं होगा. But right now थोड़ा legal structure tight भी हो गया है, थोड़ा fast.
Insurance में so many instruments are coming up, which actually who makes all these kind of instruments? It's actually the lawyers who devise कि कहाँ invest करके कैसे instruments ला सकते हैं हम, what kind of new insurances that we can make. आपको पता है there is something called catastrophic bonds, which is a bond which is used to insure, companies take insurance out fearing catastrophes, like for example disasters, COVID, exactly. And that itself is securitized. Those bonds are securitized, and usme market chala raha hai, insurance. So who does all these things? It's framed by lawyers actually, right? So many new instruments have come, and the market for lawyers is so much. And maine itna options diya only in business law.
ये तो business law हो गया.
So international law choose karo aap. If you want to join, have a career option like in international United Nations, आपको जाना है, तो international law आपको चाहिए. Or even in the ministry, the Ministry of External Affairs, they have a requirement, because to draft treaties with other countries, there's a treaty division in the like Ministry of External Affairs.
After policies, you have treaties.
So draft कौन करेगा? वो lawyer करेगा, right? So options are there. Criminal law, of course, there. No, and these are all traditional areas that I'm talking. Now let's come to new areas. Just say law and technology. I am telling you, Sagar, the next, for students who are now looking to start a career in law, I'll tell you, people might think, this is COVID times, market bura hai, job opportunities down hai. Look, you're going to graduate 5 years from now. Abhi nahi, right? People who are successful are people who think ahead. Now, what is happening? Abhi jo hai, all industries are relying on technology, because people can't come to work. Ghar pe hi rehte ho, you're trying to make work remote accessible, right? And all people are relying on technology. But you know what? the law today in India is not ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? But industries can't wait. They can't wait for the law to come, so they've all jumped into it. Abhi, and they've invested in it. Ab investment matlab after Corona, they can't now take this back. Ab itna sara investment technology mein kiye hain, so these companies will have to rely on those technologies. Lekin jab issues aayenge, abhi 3-4 saal mein, those are the issues that are going to crop up. And how many lawyers are there today who are familiar?
अभी सारा यूएस में, फ्रांस में, स्विट्जरलैंड में, they are like sort of litigation चल रहा है फेसबुक के अगेंस्ट, गूगल के अगेंस्ट, प्राइवेसी इश्यूज के अगेंस्ट.
भाई आप हर दिन आप घर पे अलेक्सा स्विच ऑन रखते हो. अलेक्सा क्या क्या सुनता है, क्या नहीं सुनता है, राइट? Now what happens if those information is used to target advertisements at you?
Yeah, definitely. वो तो इनका algorithm ऐसे ही रन करता है.
How many lawyers are competent to deal with such issues?
Yeah.
And let's say there is a defect in the device that I purchased, take IoT device like Alexa.
Like Alexa.
Right? If there is a defect, whose responsibility is it? Does the manufacturer or the seller? Right? Does the manufacturer have any standards which he has to comply with? India mein standards hai hi nahi.
No.
Right? So those
technology wise standards तो कुछ भी नहीं है. Like Zoom meeting हो रही है, लोग enter कर रहे हैं.
Exactly. तो opportunities उसमें अभी आएंगे ही. Next 5 years में there is tremendous opportunity in law and technology. So people who have the aptitude and the vision will opt for that. अभी we have already started offering. हमारे एक सेमिनार पेपर लॉ एंड टेक्नोलॉजी में है. हम IoT में अभी काम कर रहे हैं. We are trying to strengthen some research programs in IoT law as well.
नहीं तो आपको लगता है कि इंडिया में भी बैंगलोर, पुणे जैसी मतलब कंपनीज जो हैं, they will hire lawyers for law and technology?
करना ही पड़ेगा. They will have to rely on. They don't have a choice. अभी इतने सारे companies.
At least they have to secure themselves, so they have to sort of draft contracts.
Our focus, therefore, right now, is that 5 years from now target. तो इसीलिए हमने we have law and technology as a seminar paper. आप अपने हमारे website में जाके you can look at the courses that we have. One of the seminar paper is law and technology. We're trying to already working on something like IoT law वगैरह, trying to bring that as part of one of the seminar papers in the near future. So that kind of skills is required for students now in future. So opportunities are amazing, plenty. Scenario is there's a large cloud of the pandemic now, but there's a silver lining to it that maybe in the next 2 years we should be able to overcome the pandemic. And the markets are the job market is at its lowest. So there's only one way it can go, which is up.
Yeah.
And it's going to go up. The economy is going to rebuild itself in the next 3 years, next 5 years. And that's when you're going to graduate. So you can look at it as, a God-sent opportunity as well.
Yeah. And जो आप जैसे अभी हम लोगों ने इतनी बात करी different career options की, in business law में आपने बात करा, IPR आपने अभी नहीं touch किया, but IPR I think so again.
IPR was the other honors paper.
Yeah, IPR because IPR.
Yes.
IPR also India में 10 साल 20 साल पहले no one thought कि IPR would be something which will grow, but now IPR is very important. Because हम सब कुछ YouTube है, सब digital है.
Exactly. 9 साल पहले हमने इसको honors ही करा दिया. We have an entire honors 8 papers on IPR.
On IPR, intellectual property rights. Okay. And आपको salaries के बारे में थोड़ा सा students को बताइए कि जो companies है कैसी salaries दे रही हैं, even in teaching and research. What are the opportunities in teaching and research? And दूसरी चीज सर constitution एक चीज हो जाती है. फिर ये IPC जो laws लिखे जाते हैं, क्या वो कोई बुक है क्या जिसमें लॉज लिखे जाते हैं आईपीसी जैसे कभी-कभी मैंने सुना है मूवीज में कहते हैं धारा 302 के तहत आपको फांसी.
बिल्कुल there is a statute the statute is made by the legislature, जैसे पार्लियामेंट हो या स्टेट असेंबली हो, right? They
can make the law.
They make the law, right?
Okay.
लेकिन that is not the only source of law, because sometimes क्या होता है कि there are gaps in the law. तो जब gaps आते हैं तो the matter there is a dispute. कोई कहता है कि नहीं लॉ ये कहता है, तो कोई और कहते हैं नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, ऐसे है लॉ. Then the matter comes before the court. And the High Court and the Supreme Court in India have the jurisdiction or the power to interpret the law. And जहाँ पे gaps हैं, they also have the power to fill that gap. So some laws come through the cases as well. जैसे हमने सुना होगा विशाखा's case. right? Vishaka's case, क्योंकि उस समय we did not have a law on sexual harassment in workplace. Right? तो law नहीं था. Then, but a person has been sexually harassed in the workplace. When the matter came before the court ने क्या किया? The court made an exhaustive guideline. ये चीज workplace में ensure करना है. Right? So that didn't come through the written law. It came through the written judgment.
Okay.
Till the parliament makes a law, that will become the law.
But that is the abhi wo guideline. So guidelines is
effectively for company, that is also law. Because
that also
right,
law.
that is also
if they
law.
violate it, they are not punishable. If they violate it.
Yes. It's a mandatory, therefore, for institutions to ensure that the Vishaka guidelines are followed. But only thing is, it can be replaced by a law passed by the parliament.
Okay.
So, जब तक parliament law pass नहीं करेगा, ये judgment will be valid.
तो हमें जो ये judgment होता है, हमें individually सारे judgments पढ़ने पड़ेंगे या कोई book होती है जिसमें सब लिखा रहता है?
See, there are like that as well. There are books as well. There are compendiums. जैसे कि आप कहते हो Halsbury's Laws of India. That is a compendium of all the laws that emanate, from the statute and the courts, and they detail that. So ऐसे नहीं है, right? The statutes are also there. But for a lay person who's not educated in law, you simply pick up a book on that textbook on that area, and you will find the law, both the law that has come from the courts and from the thing is explained there.
Okay, उस तरह से. So coming towards ये तुम्हारा थोड़ा knowledge based question था कि कैसे बनता है, just to understand for my knowledge also. अब हम लोग आते हैं जब law बन जाता है and then when we are in the market. So अभी salaries कैसी हैं in companies if you are working alone and in teaching and research, 3 areas में कैसी salaries इस वक्त हम लोग देख रहे हैं?
Salary again has been, I mean, when you look at the COVID spectrum, you would think that it is not, it should have fallen down. But I'll tell you what, that, see, I again say the same point to many of my students. Ki, there are a few lakhs of lawyers that graduate every year, har saal, right? Or kuch lawyers unme se aise hain who will earn anywhere between 9 to 15 lakhs per annum. Fresh graduate ke bare mein bol raha hu, right? 9 to 15 lakhs per annum they'll earn. Or kuch lawyers aise bhi honge who will earn around 2,000 to 5,000 rupees per month.
Okay.
Wo bhi hai. And yet they all studied the same Indian Penal Code, same Constitution. So what made the difference is how you learned the subject, how you learned, right? Because have you learned the skills which the industry requires out of you? If you have done that, then the opportunity is still there. I mean, in fact, if I remember offhand, the average salary for law in Alliance University was something like 9.5 lakhs or something, right, per annum. Right? The placements, हमारे placements में.
So कितने % बच्चे place हो जाते हैं?
A good number. Again, I wouldn't take the last year's number as a ballpark figure because it was during the COVID times. But otherwise, we would usually have 70% of our students being and above 70 and above who found themselves placed in various places, and they're all doing well. In fact, many of them keep coming back to our institutions in terms of, because we ensure that our alumni stays in touch with our present students. वो relationship build होने से क्या होता है कि they themselves will become recruiters.
Yes, exactly.
हमारे alumni then becomes our recruiters. So we try and maintain that relationship. So that is the reason why we were able to place that many number of our students as well.
Okay. And sir, जैसे आपने बताया skills के बारे में, मैं ये समझ पाया कि क्या मतलब drafting, जैसे contracts draft करना है, या फिर जैसे कंपनी को इंडस्ट्री में क्या skills currently requirement होता है, इसको आप कुछ बता सकते हैं क्या skills?
Yeah, of course. See, what happens is in many of the conventional law colleges, right? Conventional matlab, I meant the old colleges that have been there forever, what happens is there you follow a rote system of learning. Yeah. But rata maro, as statutes, provisions, vagera, and then reproduce that in the paper and pass and go. That's practically in today's world useless. फायदा ही नहीं. So today, what do you want is you want to have the practical skills which the industry requires. So how do we do that? I mean, I actually missed your point when you asked me the best practices.
Yeah, and what are those practices or skills?
Exactly. Yes. So the first thing that we do as a is we are emphasis on experiential learning. Jaise ki, if I am going to teach criminal law, I wouldn't be simply coming and lecturing about, you know, what the provision says and what the judge in this particular case has said this and what in that case. I would rather, once I have explained, of course, we do have to do our lecturing, our class, but the class lecture is limited to an analysis and of the law, a particular issue. Say, for example, culpable homicide amounting to murder, 302. I will just give them a brief outlay, then take up cases and conduct a moot court. A moot court matlab is a mock argument, like a court. You know, we have a moot court room in our campus. Most colleges have that. So moot court kar rahe. Matlab, and we put the students into two groups, you know, and you argue for the prosecution, you argue for the accused. So when they do that, that is the best form of learning. You know, what all interpretations can he make out of this provision? Econ cases, and it becomes a sort of competition. You know? So that is one part of it, matlab moot courts. Second, debates, right? In classrooms. Third, we actually, like for example, if I'm going to teach company law, I'm not going to teach what is define a prospectus and what are the contents of a prospectus. I will simply ask a group of students, and this is something that I've done earlier as well when I taught company law. I said, you incorporate a company. Incorporate, not necessarily go to the registrar of companies, but you prepare the entire file. MCA ke website jaake, they'll have to download all the forms, and whatever forms is required to incorporate a company, up full go. Right? You three will be the directors, you will be the shareholders, aapke itne % shares honge. Now you draft the memorandum of association, you draft the articles of association, and registrar of companies ke paas aap jo bhi document submit karoge, aap mujhe submit karoge, wahi aapka assignment. Then what do? I say, okay, now you do one thing, is company ko abhi aap jaake list karo.
List karo IPO ke
liye. Uske liye kya documents aapko SEBI mein.
ये तो दो अलग-अलग काम हो गए, because I think so आप जब industry corporate करते हो, this is like one lawyer who will do this whole thing.
Yes.
And
so
IPO
this assignment also will be in a phase. जैसे पहले आप ये करोगे. By the time we reach the 5th module, जहाँ पे मैं IPO के बारे में बोलूँगा, तब उनको ये assignment दिया जाएगा कि जो company आपने incorporate किया, अब आपको इसको list करो.
I think so Zomato did a IPO recently, तो उन्होंने भी बहुत lawyers use किए होंगे something.
IPO involves a huge team. Yeah, it's a huge team of lawyers, a lot of work to be done. So that is why here also it will be a group assignment. एक बंदा नहीं कर सकता है. About 10-15 students together, एक group बना के, then I tell them अभी list करो. Then I say delist करो, या private company को public करो, public company को private करो. That's how you learn. So when they go for the other aspect, this is experiential learning. तो moot court एक जगह, experiential learning अपने जगह पे. And the third comes is our focus on internship. हर साल आपको internship करना ही है. We have something called a step interning process. Step interning ये होता है कि first year में आपके majority subjects BA के या BBA के papers होंगे. तो आप law में जाके करने से आपको पूरा फायदा नहीं मिलेगा. So what do? We expect you to go and do your internship, let's say in an NGO or in a company. Because you're a BBA student, you've studied a paper on HR. So go join a HR wing of a company and do your internship there. The internship is intended to understand the practical application of what you learned in your classroom. Right? So what subjects you learned that semester in your classroom, choose your internship so that it complements that. Right? Then it remains in your mind. See, it's like internalizing the process. Ek baar you learn cycling, you don't forget it. Ek baar you learn swimming, you don't forget it. Why? Because you have internalized it. We want you to learn law also like that. You internalize it. Taki aapko, you don't have to keep remembering. Bhai, this is a computer with a specific amount of storage space.
Storage. And you cannot finish everything because आप जब आगे जाओगे, you can, after some time, if you go into corporate, you cannot learn everything about criminology.
Absolutely.
सारे जो एस्ट्यूट्स और आप बता रहे हो जो प्रोविजंस, आप एक ही चीज के बारे में जिसमें आप प्रैक्टिस करोगे वही आपको याद रहेगा. आई थिंक सो बाकी तो लोग धीरे-धीरे भूल ही जाएंगे.
Correct.
तो वो तो होगा.
So this is why it's very important to internalize these things, and that is why we come up with all these activities. You know, so in a way, for those of whom are interested, this is fun. मजा आएगा, right? ऐसे सोचेंगे. But if you don't have the aptitude, then you are shy, stay back, and then you feel bored, you feel out of place. So that is why aptitude is very important.
And internships में आप भी help करते हो या students have to find?
Yes. We encourage them to find internships on their own. Only reason why is because we want lawyers to, actually go and fight for their share. We don't want everything being given spoon-fed to them. But in case they don't find for themselves, we have a career and placement office, career and networking office, which we call as a CAN office in our Alliance University, which looks after internships and placements. So they also help. But ideally, internships, I want students, because that shows, aptitude in itself. I am able to go and find the lawyer also, once he's in the industry, who helps him, right? Ek baar. So he has to go and look out for that. So this is a training for all that. It's not just about teaching them law subjects. It's about training them to become a successful lawyer. So we help them, but in case they're not able to find, we have our resources who will help them.
Okay. And sir, last two questions I'll ask you. One is about doing masters, like how are you helping students to have masters in India, or what are your suggestions if they want to do masters abroad like you did in US, and how much are they looking towards from the cost perspective if they want to do it in UK, because in the UK में बहुत famous है, बहुत traditional, वहाँ पे barrister आते हैं, बहुत लोग वहाँ से करने जाते हैं, but I know they charge them around 40 lakhs to, I think, to do a masters.
बिल्कुल. See,
उसके बाद क्या opportunity अच्छी है यहाँ पर?
Yeah, I'll tell you. See, with respect to doing masters, now I welcome students who want to go abroad and do their masters, but not for the content part of it, because nowadays top universities even in India give the best of content. Content mein problem nahi. We have qualified. No, because see, for example, I'll explain that as well.
Yeah.
Now, countries like UK, Singapore, right, US, these are all countries which have the British legal history. So the foundational principles are the same. Right? Like when I went to do my master's in corporate and financial services in NUS, I didn't have to do the core paper on company law. Why? Because I also come from a common law country, which is India. So British legal history ke same history hai. Hamare legal system bhi is based on the same British legal system. So I didn't have to do a core paper on company law because I did company law in India. But a student who comes from China or Argentina, they have to, before they start doing the masters in corporate and financial services law, they have to do the core paper on company law because the legal system is different. But ultimately, on a global level, countries are moving towards the convergence, their legal systems, because trade is happening across jurisdictions. Yeah. So it makes sense for countries to come towards a unified, not to mean that they are all uniform now, but the movement is towards a convergence, particularly in matters like international trade, corporate governance and corporate investment law. In all these areas, there are a lot of convergence happening. So that is why doing a master's program, because in master's program, you're not looking at specific statutes. Aap legal principles ke bare mein padhte ho. Right? So that is above the statute. The statute is based on those legal principles. So at master's level, that's what you study. So that is why you can go abroad and do. But as I said, content we also provide as good as any other international law schools. But going abroad gives a different perspective to a student because you are seeing a different culture. You're living, you're seeing a different society. You're understanding that. So spending a year there gives you a different, perspective to life itself. So that is why going abroad would be advantageous. As far as the content part of it is, we provide as much. So when you work out the cost aspect, therefore, right, it will come down to, what do you want? If you really want that full experience, then yeah, it makes sense. But I would suggest for those of you who want to go abroad, then spend 2 years of working in India, because outside abroad, universities abroad give a lot of weightage to work experience when it comes to giving scholarships.
Yeah.
With scholarships, work experience becomes crucial. So then, if you have financial constraints, work for a couple of years, so you're earning as well, which will help you support your career there. Second, your chances of getting scholarships there also increases. Right? So that's a win-win situation for you, and then go and do abroad. But if that is not, even then it's difficult for you, you can do your masters in India as well. There are now top universities which give as good a content as you probably when I go and study in NUS, so I know what's being taught there. So when I come here, obviously that is what I'm going to give my students here in terms of
fill the gaps, maybe.
Absolutely. So it's you can do that here as well.
Okay, sir, a line or two on your PhD topic that I was seeing, it's law relating to derivative action and protection of minority investors. So minority investors का मतलब क्या, जैसे rural bank, Grameen bank?
No. Minority investors means investors who have lesser number of shares in the company.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So जैसे when you have a company like Reliance, or जैसे Satyam we take case of Satyam. Right. Now you have Ramalinga Raju and his family members holding shares, which it's not majority of the shares, but they hold a controlling share, right? And there are so many small shareholders also. Now with a controlling stake in the company, I can get the company to do what I want, right? But if things go wrong, who's also suffering? The people who had small shares, who couldn't control the company in any way, but they are also going to suffer because of my actions. So that they are minority shareholders, and to protect them, there are various mechanisms in our statute, in our company law. One such mechanism is what we call as derivative action, where a minority shareholder itself can sue. It's a technical aspect. I don't want to bore students with that, but it is therefore how that is not there in our statute. It is only there as part of our judicial precedents as common law history. So my thesis was, it has a definite role to play, and therefore we should include it in the statute.
So you did a critical study, and how
I did a critical study. I also drafted a draft provision which could be included in the statute.
Okay. So this is something I think so. Aage jaake we would require more researchers like these, because more laws has to be made, and because different aspects are in. We saw like scams itne bade bade. For example, I'm not saying Sahara did a scam or something, but Sahara had certain problems.
Yes. They had definite problems. Yes, indeed. No, corporate governance is still, India is still a long way. There's a long way for us to march to ensure, corporates are governed well, good corporate norms and behavior.
And these are under Ministry of Corporate Affairs, all of this?
Indeed. Yes,
Ministry of Corporate Affairs.
Yes.
Okay, sir, my final question was very nice talking to you. It was very enlightening for me also, because I'm very confused when it comes to law. Because everyone wants to know about law, but I don't. But today, after talking to you, मेरे को पता है कि मैं लोगों से जब when I talk to students, I have a certain insight into the process.
Yes.
So it's very helpful.
I hope those who are listening also,
we have something. We had continuously, we had around 10 people watching us. So maybe we have around 150, 200 viewers who heard you. And later on, I'll also break down the video and put small parts with the questions, so people can look into specific questions. My last question to you is, if today you had to advise your 18-year-old self, like when you were 18-year-old, so if today you advise that person, what your advice would be?
Well, I would see, whatever I said right now was actually partly born out of my own experiences as well. The way we did law, because I studied in a conventional university, right? We did not have a lot of opportunities which the present generation have. Like I did in my entire 10 semesters, I did 2 or 3 internships, right? I was an active mooter though. My college gave me a lot of opportunity to participate in moot courts. But skills, we didn't have these specializations. We had the conventional way. It was a BA LLB honors, but those subjects were all set by the university. हमारे पास कोई option नहीं था. We can choose and opt and everything as per our choice. So we had to just undergo all the papers, whichever which the university had offered, right? And the way the question papers were set was not, a problem-solving approach. Traditional universities may that is not feasible also. So they go by a standard thing. Okay, define this term. What are the features of this particular thing? That's more. वो हम रटा मार के भी pass कर सकते हैं. It's not difficult. But today, here, for example, that is not possible. Here, it is a problem. Problem देते हैं आपको. You give a solution for this. That is why, even during COVID times, we could do our examinations easily. आप लिखो, आप देखो, open book करना है, books देखो, but you give a solution for this. If you know, lawyer बन के भी हम books देखेंगे ना. So it's not enough required that you have to learn everything, mug up everything. If you know where to look, इतना सारा बड़ा book है, 2 घंटे में if you have to read the question and if you know where to look and find the law, well, you've done a good job. You're a good lawyer then, right? So that is so those kind of opportunities is something that we missed. And I would urge students, therefore, one thing, of course, there is no free lunch. If you want a rewarding career, making this decision of where to join, which course to join is not the last decision. It is a first decision. It's just the beginning. You have to be willing to work hard for the next 5 years, right? Working hard does not mean boring. Yes. It's all fun. When you do it, you will understand. But you have to be rigorous. You have to work hard, put in that effort, clock in that hours, then a rewarding career is assured. Okay. So I wish all of those who are listening the very best. I hope you make the right choices and you get the courses that you desire. I also wish, including you, Sagar, that you all stay safe and sound during this time. All of you, please take care.
Oh, so this was Dr. 𝐤𝐴𝐚 Professor 𝐤𝐴𝐚 with us. उन्होंने जैसे he has given us a very good brief about the whole law scenario. Still, maybe we covered like 30-40% and we can go entirely more in depth into it. But we get a small idea कि क्या हो सकता है. जो key takeaway वो ये है कि dynamic learning आपको चाहिए. You cannot go in one path. You have to like sort of थोड़ा ये भी आता है, थोड़ा वो भी आता है. वो तो ठीक है, वो तो आपको करना ही है. But then you have to sort of specialize in something and be a more dynamic. अगर आपको लग रहा है that area is not yours, then you shift to something else. But go in depth. That's what he's saying, and you need those skills, like he said. आपको mood court में बात करना है, आपको लिखना आना चाहिए. And this is what they're teaching at the university. So I'm very happy that we have professors like you, and that also I'm saying in a good way that we have professors like you in private universities, because government में क्या है, people like I talk to people and they say हमें government college जाना है ये वो. But the attitude of teachers in government college has been deteriorating over the last 10-20 years. हमारे parents के time it was different. But abhi kya hai, they are getting good salaries, अच्छी conditions. Yes, sometimes I find that they are not working that hard. और उनका approach भी उतना अच्छा नहीं है. But when we have people from abroad coming in India and teaching in private university, I think the standard बढ़ेगा, and slowly change will come. I think so.
Of course, it will. It will.
So thanks a lot, sir. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much,
I hope
Sagar.
I have your number, and if I have any student who has doubts,
please do. Please do. I'll be happy to connect. And thank you. It's been a pleasure.